Pressing buttons can be so satisfying. And we all like pretty colors, don't we? So, I want you to click some buttons. But wait! You can't just press random buttons and make it happen. No! You need to set it up so you can make it happen. So, set up some number keys to make your lovely light show. First, do you have the 3 files in your VS Code? Index.html, styles.css, and script.js? Okay, good. You can code in the HTML with a div with class wrapper. Next, add in 8 divs, all with the class of border. Then, you want to add in another div within the border divs. You'll want 8 different colors for these divs, so add a class of the colors red, lime green, blue, yellow, cyan, magenta, orange, and green. Set up the CSS for the wrapper and make it look like a control pad. You need to use the border to set up the buttons. Now, you need to combine all the class colors to be a direct child of the border class divs. Hey, not too shabby. Here's the boring part. You have to take each color class and give each its own background color. Okay, you're done with that. The JavaScript may be a little complicated, but you can do it. Start with an actual object called colors. Code each key with its respective color. Add another variable of an empty object of elements. This is where you can show and fade each element when it is added or removed from this empty object. Now, set up a for-of loop where the object variable will change and deconstruct it to its separate parts in the form of key and value. In this for-of loop, you need to type in the method of object entries. This works specifically with just object variables. The parentheses will be used to pass what is called an argument, which in this case is the name of the variable of the colors. Inside the loop, take the empty elements object and link it to the key of each color, and then make that equal to the div element that has that color class. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention. In order for the key you press to be recognized, you have to go back and add a data key attribute to each corresponding color. Good thing about this is that you only have to add the key numbers to each one that goes along with the row of numbers on your keyboard. It's a lot to take in, but you're doing great. Back into JavaScript, you will find out how to make the keys do what you want them to do. This is done by adding an addEventListener method to the document. The first part of the argument will take in a key press command, and the second element will pass in the event, or just E for short. Then, write an if statement where if the event or E repeats or the E of any of the elements is pressed, it is returned with the E key of the elements, adding a class list of remove with a class of fade if previously pressed, and adding the show class each time it is pressed. Go back to the CSS once again and type in the border class with a child combinator of div show, put in the opacity property with 1, and then add another border class child combinator of div fade with animation fade out 0.5 seconds. Make sure you put in the keyframes of fade out with 0% at opacity 1 and 100% with opacity 0. Whew, that's a lot to process, but you're almost there. There's just a slight snag. All the colors just get stuck. This is only half of what you need to make it work. The other half is basically taking the same addEventListener method, but now using a keyUp argument to do the opposite of the previous statement. Just switch the show and fade classes to add and remove. Now you can just play around on whatever keys and make your own light show.